Good morning to you with my iced coffee. Hopefully the music's not too loud. It's some native flute music. So got a lot of rest last night. Went to bed. Had some stuff going on with my grandfather, and of course dealing with him and just the whole him living by himself. It can be a bit much, and then I have to get back into my woo-saw mode. So went to bed tired last night after work and then dealing with him. So it is what it is. So, but I saw a video this morning from Josh, just Josh, and I'll leave the link below if you want to click on this video. He's talking about the future and AI and just things not looking too good, and it made me think of something that I've said before. And being in the unique position or situation that I am with my grandfather, right? Like I'm in the middle, right? So my grandfather's here, which is the future, right? And then I'm here in the present, right? And I'm thinking about the past of how he grew up, my grandfather, how I grew up, and how we're at this point in 2021, right? And I'm going to try to keep this short. I may have to do a second part, but I agree with what he's saying about the whole change. And I guess you could say this is the last of us, the last of our generation, our unique way of thinking, a unique way of living life. And if you want to fast forward 10, 20, 30, 50 years from now, and you want to see what our people, our generation would look like, and those that are still around, that are hanging on to what they can, but living in a modern life. And I'm going to try to compare oranges to apples, so bear with me. But this is just an example. Look at the native people. They're still around, right? They have all their tribes. They're scattered across the U.S., some in Canada, and they're holding on to their way of living, right? In modern times, right? And I'm not comparing us to them, but I'm using that as an example, as a gateway to try to get you to think and grasp and visualize the future, right? And how our independence, our way of being independent as individuals, not relying on the government or relying on other people, but us being sustaining people to be able to grow our food, have our own rain resource water, live off the grid, be independent, right? Protect myself. That way of thinking is the last of us, is dying. I see that. If you really think about it, and I think that a lot of people see it. They won't admit it. They don't want to talk about it because it's too hurtful, or it pisses them off, that their way of how they grew up, our generation, right? Anyone that was anywhere from the 50s, 1950s, all the way up into the 80s. That's a good generation gap versus now, right? And the need or the no need to have this anymore is the new way, right? Less and less people are feeling like we need these, right? And of course, we all know that criminals don't abide by those rules. Criminals don't follow the rules. So you can make all the rules and laws you want, they're not going to abide by them. And this is what we've all been trying to say in a calm manner without getting all worked up. And I won't say that I don't see any hope for us to not change things around, but the hope is getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer as I see things. And I'm not saying give up. I'm not saying don't prep. I'm not saying don't continue that way of thinking or living, but just know that it is dying. I guess acknowledge it, right? I mean, you look around on YouTube, less and less prepping channels, less and less channels, less and less people speaking up against the system because they're getting canceled culture on them, right? If you speak your mind too much, you get canceled, right? They come after you, or you're a racist, or you know, you're those people. You don't want to get the jab because you're putting fear in everyone, right? Instead of just letting people decide what they want to do with their lives, right? That's why we live in this country. That's why we live under that flag. And there's many people that don't like that flag. They call that racist, or they call to change the flag to what, I don't know. But in the near future, I foresee, even if it's in my lifetime or not, I see that this country is changing. I can't say for the better, but it is changing, and we are the last. We are the last of the Mohicans, the last of the true Americans that won't matter at some point. It doesn't matter what I say, what I do today, to the masses. It matters to people like you, like-minded people. I'm not saying I've given up, but I can only do what I can do, and you can only do what you can do. So, as far as Josh's video, I agree. I see it coming. And like you said, I don't know if after 90 days, 6 months, if that's a world that I want to live in. And not that we have a choice as far as how us living in it or not, because the masses change the way the world is, right? Our government is so far up everybody's, you know what? They're in the news every day. It's always about the government this, government that. Instead of it being about the people, about being about us, about the world and life and events, it's about the government. It's about the jab. It's about control. So anyway, adios.